Continue watching this video tutorial to learn how to create a machine cover that's both stylish and practical, as we celebrate 10 years of Sweet Pea machine embroidery with our latest sew-along design. Let's start our sewing machine cover project by hooping up some cutaway stabilizer in your hoop. This will give our block the stability it needs. Take batting 1 and place it on top of the hoop. Stitch the batting down to secure it. Once that's done, remove the hoop from your machine and carefully trim the batting close to the stitching, leaving about 1 to 2 mm of batting around the edges. Now let's stitch the place and line for the background fabric. This line will guide us on where to place our fabric. Take fabric A and place it right side up over the hoop, making sure it completely covers the place and line. Stitch it down. Don't worry about the excess fabric in the seams, we'll handle that later. Next, it's time to embroider the quilting for this section. This will give our block a lovely texture. Then remove the hoop again and trim the fabric close to the stitching. Once the quilting is done, we'll move on to section B. Repeat the applique process with fabric B, following the same steps as before. Embroider the quilting on section B. After the quilting, we'll embroider the satin stitch around section B to give it a nice clean edge. For section C, repeat the same steps using fabric C. Embroider the quilting on section C, and then finish it with a satin stitch around the edges. And finally, we'll do the same for section D with fabric D. Remember to embroider the satin stitch around section D first. Then add the quilting for a perfect finish. Once all sections are complete, remove the block from the hoop and trim the seams to about 1/2 inch. Now hold this block aside until all your blocks or panels are made. Using your regular sewing machine now, let's join the blocks. To start, lay out your blocks on a flat work surface. This will help you visualize the final layout and ensure everything is in the right place. Begin by joining the blocks in rows. Take the first 2 blocks and place them right sides together, carefully aligning the seams. Pin along one side, paying special attention to the corners and points where the seams meet. We like to pin at these key points to ensure everything lines up perfectly. Once your blocks are pinned, stitch the side seam on your sewing machine. Make sure to stitch just inside the outer borderline that's already stitched on the blocks. This way, the stitching won't be visible on the right side later. After stitching, open out the seams and press them flat with an iron. This helps the blocks lie nicely and makes the quilt top smoother. Continue this process for the remaining blocks in the row. Once all the blocks in the row are joined, repeat the same steps to join each horizontal row of blocks together. Next, it's time to join the horizontal rows to each other. Take the first two rows and place them right sides together, just like you did with the individual blocks. Pin along one edge, making sure to line up the seams and points where the blocks meet. For this project, we've found that using quilt clips can be really helpful. Feel free to use pins if you prefer. Take your time with this step to ensure everything aligns perfectly. Stitch the seams on your sewing machine, again stitching just inside the existing borderline. This will keep the stitching hidden on the front as you sew. Continually check and match up the seams to ensure a neat finish. Open out the seams and press them flat. Once all the horizontal rows are stitched together, open out the seams and press them flat. If needed, trim the edges of the quilt top to make them even and tidy. Prepare the straps. Start by taking our fabric W. Begin by pressing the strap widthwise, folding it wrong sides together. This will create a crease along the fold. Open out the fold to reveal the crease line. Next, fold and press one side of the strap in towards the crease, wrong sides together, making sure to press firmly. Repeat this step for the other side. Now, fold the strap again so that the two folded edges meet in the center. Press these edges firmly to ensure a sharp crease. Once you've pressed the folds, open them out again. Now, fold the strap right sides together, aligning the raw edges so they sit on top of each other. Stitch one end of the strap with a 6mm 1/4 inch seam through all the layers. After stitching, fold the strap again along the original crease line, so the halfway fold sits on top of the raw edges. Stitch over the 6mm 1/4 inch stitch line once more, sewing through all the layers. To finish the ends, turn them out twice so the raw edges are enveloped inside against the center fold. This technique creates a neat, square corner. Finally, top stitch around the entire perimeter of the strap, stitching the two folded edges together for a polished finish. Adding the straps. Let's get started with placing the straps on your cover. First, measure the longest side of the cover and mark the halfway point. This will be your center reference from this center mark. Measure and mark about 22 centimeters or 9 inches to the left and right. Repeat this on the opposite side of the cover. These 4 marks will be the spots where the straps will be attached. Now, take the prepared straps and align the cut ends with the raw edge of the cover. Make sure the length of each strap is facing towards the middle of the cover. This positioning is crucial for ensuring the straps are even and properly placed. Once you've got the straps lined up with the marks, pin them in place securely. To keep the straps from shifting while you're working on the rest of the cover, stay stitch them in place. This is just a temporary stitch to hold everything steady. It's a handy trick to make sure the straps don't move around. After stay stitching, pin or tape the straps down onto the cover. This step is important because it keeps the straps out of the way and ensures they won't get caught when you're adding the backing. Before cutting your backing, measure the length and width of your machine cover, making sure to add about 1 inch of extra fabric on each side. This extra allowance ensures you have enough fabric to work with. Next, cut your pieces of backing fabric to these dimensions. Then cut the piece in half. These 2 pieces will serve as the backing for your machine cover. Lay the 2 pieces of backing fabric right sides together on your table. Pin and stitch a 1/2 inch seam, 12.5mm seam along one edge. But remember to leave a 6 inch, 15cm gap in the middle. This gap will allow you to turn the machine cover right side out later. After stitching, press the seams open and help it lay flat. Now place your sewing machine cover on top of the backing fabric with the right sides facing each other. Lightly pin the layers together to keep them aligned. Stitch around the outer edge of the sewing machine cover, just inside the perimeter stitching line. When you reach the first corner, stop with the needle down. Lift the presser foot, then rotate the quilt. Lower the presser foot and continue stitching all the way around. Trim the edge of your cover to a 1/2 inch, 12.5mm seam allowance and clip the corners to reduce bulk. Next, turn the cover right side out through the opening in the backing seam. To help the corners sit nicely, you can use the point of a chopstick or a tool like that pink thing to gently push out the corners from the inside. Finally, hand stitch the opening and the backing seam closed. For a professional finish, use the stitch in the ditch technique, sewing along the seam line to keep the stitches invisible. Once everything is in place, press the cover firmly to smooth out any wrinkles. Congratulations, you have now finished your sewing machine cover. Enjoy your creation and the added protection for your sewing or embroidery machine. Thank you for joining us for this special edition of our Sweet Pea Sew Along. This design is particularly meaningful as it celebrates the 10th anniversary of Sweet Pea machine embroidery. We are deeply grateful to everyone who has supported us over the years. And a very special thank you goes out to all the amazing people who participate in our sew-alongs. It's the community aspect that has truly been the heart of our success. I look forward to seeing you again next month for our upcoming sew-along.